Hi, my name is Dr. Chawanna Chambers. I am Chief Academic Officer of Compass Rose Public Schools in San Antonio, Texas. So why blend? The topic that I want to cover very briefly is teacher burnout. There are a lot of reasons why you could use a blended learning program, but combating teacher burnout is one of the most critical reasons I think we should be considering blended learning across our classrooms, schools, districts, etc. In the traditional sense of teaching, there are so many different responsibilities and duties that teachers have. As their state legislatures are meeting and passing new laws and mandates, those things get tacked on to what teachers are already doing and districts are already doing. And so grading ends up becoming one of those areas that is really difficult for teachers to keep track of. It's actually one of the things that I get the most questions about just across the board. I'm on social media, I'm all over the place. And so I always get questions about how do I grade more effectively, or how do I keep track of all of the things that I need to grade for my students. And so one of the things that I talk about is being more strategic about grading. And blended learning can help you do that. When you are implementing a particular software or program like iExcel or Amplify Reading or Dreambox or ScoopPad, no matter what it is, usually they have some type of data that they're going to be collecting for you based on how students are moving through the activities, the units, the games, etc. And these are usually bucketed out and typically reflect your state standards. Oftentimes, apps use the Common Core standards as their benchline or their base, and then add other state standards to that. But no matter what it is, you can identify how you want to use those student reports and those student grades in your grade book, rather than providing exit tickets all the time via Google Form or something like that, and then taking grades that way. You can use the apps that students are already engaging with as a replacement for some of those classwork and homework grades. This would also help with student accountability and with just student buy-in. If they know that you are going to be looking at that app a lot of, and going into there and seeing exactly what they're doing and where they're at and how many minutes they've spent and all of those things, they are more likely to see the necessity of that particular activity. So when teachers use EdTech and really get familiar with the types of data and things that are provided within a particular software, they can reduce some of that pressure of I have to grade all of these things. Also with that is recognizing what you want to grade. In a blended learning setting, it tends to lend itself a lot to more competency-based types of approaches. So everything doesn't have to be graded. Some things can just be feedback that you're providing, and then you are using either audio, video, or some other type of method to give feedback to students and also to get them to produce for you, and so that they can demonstrate their learning. Again, there are any number of reasons to choose blended learning, but I would say from my perspective, both having been a teacher that implemented blended learning when I was in the classroom, and now as a district or charter leader who is helping to build out a blended learning program across our district and network, it is really critical in supporting teachers so that they do not feel that there's just way too much going on. And again, this is a process, right? So you're not necessarily going to be 100% perfect at it and know exactly what you want to do in year 1 or even year 2 or 3, but you can identify, this is one thing that I want to work on this school year. I want to get really good at knowing how to take the data that my students are putting into this app and making sure my gradebook reflects all of that work, because the work that students are doing online is still work, and that should also, be reflected in the workbook, in the gradebook as well.